We're live. Hello. I have Alice with me. It's great to have you back, Alice. I hope you're feeling better and getting along a little better.
Yeah, doing fine just now anyway. Nice to be
Yeah,
back.
yeah. Day by day, right?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
I completely get that. I got to make, oh, yep, I'm muted. Um, I know there's going to be a few others that are going to be popping in at some point. Um, but I want to say hi to everybody in chat. Hi, Kate. Hi, JD. I don't know if you're still here or not, but if you are, hello. And Corey may be coming back. I apologize for having to start late, for starting so late today. I had things I was wrapped up in here at home, and so I I didn't. I knew I couldn't get in here and get on by 5 p.m. Central. So, Cherie, I don't know why you're in the chat. You can be in the chat, but you need to get on the panel. It, why aren't you here? We miss you. um anyway, um so yeah, I just got a message from Katie, and she said that her computer just crashed, so she's going to try to jump in a minute too. So um but I oh my god, this Giggers thing is making me a crazy lady. I am so angry and disgusted by this individual that I just every lie I had to try to type out or listen through over and over to get the subtitles in just infuriated me more and more each time. It's been horrendous for me because he just the lies are just so blatant, and he lies with such ease, like it's like no big thing. He lies like it's easy. He lies as easily. I think I said in one of the clips, I said he lies as easily as people brush their teeth. Like it just rolls off, the lies just roll off of his tongue like it's true. and
Yeah,
and I know it's not true. I know that the hi Jack, and I know that the stuff that he's saying, not every single thing, but I mean, I trying to point out every single lie has just been really brutal. Um, and so I finally just gave up at the end of the video. He talks about the trial and whatever occurs after, during the trial and whatnot. And I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to cover that. My main concern was covering the uh, um, that's all right, Jack. My main thing was covering the lies that he was telling about all of these accusers. So, that was my biggest thing. And besides, near the at the end of that video that he does a lot of he shows some nasty, unflattering photos of some, people that are close to Daniel, and or at least were close to Daniel, and it just really upset me, and it really pissed me off, and I wasn't going to even give him the time of day on it. So I just, like, you know what, screw you, and I cut that end off. But as far as the accusers, I got them all covered. But we're going to have a pause and discuss on Rosetta Gray, which is going to be the first one that we're going to see tonight. And then I think there was another one that I wanted to pause and discuss. But definitely when we get to Adara Gardner, who is at the end, pretty much near the end, we'll have to pause and discuss, because it just was too much to just keep, typing out all the lies in all the different tiles and stuff. So I just thought, you know what, we'll just pause. And Kay is having some big old troubles in her computer, I think. um, so I think that's how I want to handle handle it for now. And then I will. I don't know how to do it or how I can do it, but I think I should be able to upload the completed video at some point into um, my YouTube library or channel or whatever. I'm not really sure. That's something that I'll have to ask Jack about when he's done stuffing his face. Um, so, well, um, you guys will be happy to know that I've got the video already in the queue. It's ready to go, and it's queued up to the place where we need to start. Um, Couple of things. If at any point you want me to pause so you can comment on something that you've read or heard, don't hesitate to to let me know, because the video itself is not very much longer. It's far shorter than I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. I'm not really sure. Um, but so if you want to comment or something, just holler at me and have me to pause it, and we can discuss or whatever. And then, like I said, there's a couple of places where I'm ready to pause so that we can discuss in more detail some of these lies and inconsistencies. Alice, what you been doing? Tell me real quick what's been going on and what you've been.
Um, I've just been doing the Luke Mitchell case on my own channel. The last two videos I've done has been about the media and how the media portrayed Luke from about
Mhm.
the third day after Jodie was murdered. He was named in the papers. He was all over. Some of them named him by name, by actual name, even though he was only a 14-year-old child.
Yeah.
But that was okay in the eyes of the law because Luke was not going through actual court proceedings at that precise moment in time. So because he wasn't charged and arrested and going through the trial process, it was okay for the media to spread this rubbish about. So I just wanted to show people exactly how bad it was for Luke, to make them see that it was not a fair trial that that laddie got, and it's unbelievable the amount that was out there at the time.
Yeah. That seems to be a common theme, right? With all of these cases, is the amount of media, the media, the way the mainstream media portrays these guys.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, see, we've got a law in Scotland that they're not allowed to name a minor,
mm,
because there was a case of two 10-year-old boys took a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, I think he was, Jamie Bulger, out of a shopping centre
oh yes,
and then killed him on a railway track by beating him. Um, so they didn't get named in the paper. They were child B and child C, because they were so young. And I thought that put the precedence that if you were a minor, you weren't allowed to be named. But when it came to Luke's case in 2003, it was a completely different story. He was named everywhere, every day. And then if they weren't actually naming him by Luke Mitchell, it was the boyfriend this or the boyfriend. She sent the message to her boyfriend at the last, her last words were to her boyfriend, and boyfriend's house searched. And so everybody knew
mm,
in the area who her boyfriend was. So it wasn't hard to come to that conclusion that they were talking about Luke Mitchell.
right, yeah, yeah. They find ways to get their information out, sneaky or otherwise.
They
So,
certainly do.
yeah. All right. Well, hey, feel free to drop your link into our chat so that others in the chat can join in and subscribe to your channel as well. Because we
I will
all
do.
are one great big family. So feel free to do that.
Yes,
Jack, are
well,
you? Oh,
sorry, I
I'm
got
sorry.
100 subscribers. I got 100 subscribers, and I did my video on Monday, and I got the email and everything to say I had 100 subscribers. I was like, woohoo! I've got 100 subscribers.
Yay!
But I
That's
did my
awesome.
video. No, I did my video on Monday and somebody has unsubscribed. So I
Oh
was like,
no,
is it something I've said?
bastard.
So I'm back down to 99 subscribers. So any
Oh
subscribers would be great. Get me back up to 100.
well, we'll just go ahead and tell those that are in the chat right now, if you haven't already subscribed to Alice's channel, get her
Yeah.
back up over 100.
Get your butt over there.
Yep, get your butt on there and
Yeah.
subscribe and hit that bell.
I'm done. I'm done stuffing my face. And let me tell you, that was damn good.
What did you eat tonight, Jack?
I ordered Qdoba for me and my oldest or youngest son. Had grilled adobo chicken,
Oh,
seasoned cilantro rice,
ooh, that
roasted
sounds
red,
really yummy.
roasted something or other, fajita veggies, pico de gallo, guacamole.
Wow. Well, I was good till you said guacamole.
Listen, you're a Western girl.
I am a Western
You
girl. Yes, Southwestern.
That's even worse. Now you've done it now,
It was a
and you
bad
don't.
experience with some guacamole dip that wrecked it for me.
I'm sorry.
I
Well,
used to love it.
I love guacamole.
You know, I miss
Yeah, it'd
it
be
because
hard.
I know I used to love it, but I
I'd be
can't do it.
I'd be hard pressed to do without it now. But I mean, I know
Yeah.
it's not for everyone. But I did get my youngest son eating it because he wouldn't. You know, he's like green and like. "Ugh." I'm like,
Oh, great.
put a
Yeah.
little salt, put a little salt on it, and just take a bite. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's good. Oh man.
Now he's hooked.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We always get extra and split it.
There you go. There you go. Cool. All right. Anything new in your world, Jack? I pretty much know a lot about what's in your world already, but
Other than these, these draft or search warrants, I can't even call them draft. I mean, I guess they are. You could kind
yeah,
of refer to them that way, but the truth is that they're search warrants that weren't filed. That's what they really are.
right.
Especially the one with the disturbed earth, because that one was for Cuss Road,
Yes.
and they ended up not filing a warrant for Cuss Road because allegedly the property owners gave them permission, so they didn't have to file a warrant.
Allegedly.
But that doesn't take away from the warrant that's written and that we got. Doesn't take anything away from that. So anyway, it's been an interesting few days of actually still going through a lot of. It's really triggered a lot of our guilter friends on making a murder sub. I really haven't been to the guilter sub, and I won't go there unless I really need to.
Yeah, there's no sense in tormenting yourself.
I can get cussed out. That's not a problem. I don't have to go there. I don't have to go there to do it.
Exactly.
But it's
you can just go to Discord and do it anytime, right?
Well, pretty much. It's a lot of these people are calling these warrants. One person called them hearsay. The other person said, "Well, that blunt and bloody object is they're referring to the CD case." I told that to Sapper Cop this afternoon.
Did he die laughing?
Yes. Oh my God.
That's funny. That's funny.
I horse laughed. Yes, and I horse laughed the person on Reddit. So anyway, just being going through that, had a really long and interesting conversation on the Crime Theory Exchange today. We covered a lot of stuff. Frank, the Nicole Bacchus case, Frank was able to join us for a long period of time. Him and Dr. Selman were talking DNA, and it was really good, really interesting
cool.
stuff.
I'm sorry I missed it. I'll have to watch it later.
Yeah, I know you were busy, but their knowledge between those two, because Frank not only being a lawyer, he's got his degrees in something. You remember what it was that Christina said, Alice, about DNA and?
I think it was his forensics DNA that he's got a master's degree in or something like that. I think it was.
Yeah. This sucker's just showing off, while you're, okay, Frank, we got you, man. You put the cape on.
Simmer down.
Yeah. Anyway.
Cool. Well, I'll have to check it out later because I'm sure it was really good. And I'm not sure if Katie's been having some struggles with her computer, so I'm not sure if she's able to jump in and say, "Oh, she's
I'm
unmuted."
here.
Okay, good, 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 good.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Crashed.
Yeah, yeah, I know you've been having some
Internet
struggles.
stuff. Anyway, just nothing new over here. Just waiting for some new deadlines for the civil suit since the settlement conference did not settle. So
Right.
just kind of expecting something by the end of the week, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope we don't have to wait around too long for something, because there's all even if we get a date, how many times is that going to get pushed back for whatever
Well,
reason?
I mean, there are
So
a lot of things to resolve. So that's actually why I would think that some deadlines would get established this week because, I mean, a lot of different things could happen. The the plaintiffs could file a motion to reconsider the judge granting the city of Oklahoma City summary judgment to
uh-huh,
try to get them back into the lawsuit.
right,
We still have a motion to reconsider um, the production of evidence um, motion. Um, so, gosh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy how many different things can happen.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know initially when we got that news that there was that they didn't settle, we're all really super excited, because this means that Daniel gets to go to trial in the civil suit, which is a good thing. But there's still, and I didn't want to be like negative Nancy, because that is normally my role. But I didn't want to be negative Nancy in places where I was responding. But that was, so I didn't say anything. But that's definitely something we have to consider, is that any number of things can still happen. So
Yeah. Yeah,
oh,
but hopefully we'll have some direction by the end of this week or first part of next week for sure.
yeah,
Corey, Daniel is kind of back on a regular schedule now. COVID had, for the last few years has really wreaked havoc in all the facilities. And so he's back on a regular schedule, working out several hours a day, just, you know, staying physically active and um, writing a lot of letters, reaching out, asking for help from people, and
yeah,
just things of that nature. So he's doing pretty good. I think he's a little bit anxious um, about what's going to happen. It's always, not knowing, and knowing that there are some positive things that can give him an avenue to justice, but kind of not knowing which one of those things it's going to be. It
right.
could be, it could be a new DA. There was a DA that entered the race last week, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was last week.
Her name is, oh my gosh,
Vicky
Bahena.
Behenna.
Between the two of us, we have one brain. So she is the executive director of the Oklahoma Innocence Project. And, so of course she's worried about, she would make an excellent DA because she knows what the problems are that cause the wrongful convictions. And of course, Oklahoma's going to say that she's soft on crime because that scares all the people here
Uh-huh.
in this state. That's just our total strategy for politics here, is scare the people. But we'll see. I mean, that's one avenue, and just Henderson, the judge's activities, if they truly investigate that, and we are given well, really, things surrounding those secret hearings should should have been exposed in a big way when they got the search warrants and got Henderson's, the trial judge's, emails and texts and all of that. There's no way there's not exculpatory evidence in there. So we're really just hoping for just some level of honesty from the OSBI, but not banking on that for sure.
The same thing happens here, Kay, with the politicians. A politician here came out in defence of Luke Mitchell, the case that I do on my channel, after the documentary aired last year. And she just basically put her opinion saying that she thinks he was innocent. And now, because she's wanting to run for a term, she's now getting the backlash for that because she's supporting a killer and thinks he should be free. How dare she question the Scottish justice system, And this is coming from somebody who works on the Scottish Justice Committee, So, yeah, the same sort of thing happens here. It seems to be when they want to run for something, it's a completely different story.
Well, it's going to be like that for, a while until this election cycle is over. It is interesting that you really need to be strategic in the timing of the things that you do and the help that you ask for. And I was watching a replay of one of the Oklahoma legislature's just sessions, and it was a really close vote. And then someone made a comment, well, this is really our last week to really get anything done because, for the rest of the session, it's all politics. So, wow, you just said that on tape. So, okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Corey, you might not have been in quite yet. We discussed the settlement conference, and the city, Oklahoma City, did not settle with the plaintiffs. So, barring any setbacks or any motions that might get filed, which is, what the best that we can hope for, that nothing, no appeals get filed or anything. Hopefully, they will set a trial date, and Daniel's the only one in the case. They can't get any money from Daniel, so there's really no point. But the good thing about the trial, having a trial, is that we get the opportunity to file for serious requests for evidence and things from the first trial and other things as well. So hopefully that's our hope, is that the trial date will be set and that they will go to trial. Normally we don't want to go to trial on things. I mean, typically, I guess, but we definitely hope that that a trial date gets set and that it actually gets to happen, because that's where we hope to be able to. One of the big things is, hopefully finding a way to get a hold of those the documents in the secret hearings that are currently sealed.
The other issue that I didn't mention is that there are actually 4 cases. And so it'll be interesting to see what the judge is going to do with that, how he's going to resolve that, because at a previous hearing, it just didn't seem like, all the accusers have their own attorneys divided into 4 groups. And the attorneys don't really want it to be joined, it seems like. So I don't know how that works out. Maybe Cherie knows about that, or maybe it's different everywhere.
It probably is different everywhere, but I am definitely curious to find out if Cherie does have any idea or knowledge, how that will work. And while we're speaking of Cherie, welcome back to the panel. I'm so excited to see you back. We haven't had Cherie for a long time.
Hello, and thank you for welcoming me.
Of course.
What was the question? It was, how do they work it when there's 4 different
Yeah, so there are 4 different cases. If the judge just orders that they're all joined, is that just how it will be? And kind of like, um, oh gosh, what were those 3 guys that, the dad, the son, and the
Oh yeah, the
neighbor, the Arbery case?
Arbery case, yeah,
I mean, that seemed like 3 different cases
in
that
one
they had
trial.
in one trial, but it's weird having
Well,
that many plaintiffs, I guess, and 4 different
yeah.
attorneys.
Well, I guess they probably, well, depending on what is determined, at the end, but more than likely they'll probably end up trying to settle in the end. I mean, obviously they can't get anything from Daniel, so maybe not here. That's a good point. Um, but if there was money to get, then they would, at least the ones that well, if it went to, I'm sorry, this is confusing.
No, it is
It
confusing.
is.
Well, if there was a jury, then they would probably, and they found that all of them, had a case or deserved to get something, then it would, be divided amongst them. But otherwise, if they settle, then it's just what they're willing to settle for. They'll keep going back and forth until they come up with something.
But see, the city of Oklahoma City won't even be in the lawsuit. I mean, they didn't even have to participate in that settlement conference.
Yeah, I know that.
So
Go ahead.
there's no one to get money from, I guess, is my point. So I guess to my point about maybe what the process would be, it almost seems like the plaintiffs are going to have to file a motion to reconsider the summary judgment on the city.
Right.
Yeah, probably to get any money at this point. I don't know, like it's been mentioned. Has anybody come up with an explanation of like, say when Daniel gets out and he wins a bunch of money that they're going to try to get a share of that? I don't know. But you would think if he's found innocent, they wouldn't have much of an argument,
Right.
They should be suing the city.
Yeah.
We were talking, I think I read that question from someone. I don't know if that was someone asking Travis or.
I think I had asked Travis.
Okay, that's where I read it. So, I mean, I guess it's just all speculation. I didn't hear a good answer from him.
Yeah, he would know better than I would.
It's probably not a common thing. So,
Right. That's what I was wondering.
No, in law school, we just learned about how, things are divided up when there's a verdict, but we never had the problem of where there's a person that has no money, how does that work?
Right.
So,
Yeah,
but
it's interesting for sure.
hopefully they will lose and we'll just get lots of information.
Yes.
that'd be good.
That would be
That's the goal right now
Right.
is they lose and we get a lot of information in the process.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I don't know if everybody heard or not. I'm going to go ahead and start this video in just a couple minutes. But I just was saying to whoever else was here and heard me, if you want to, if you want to make a comment on something that's in the video or something, you don't have to wait for anything. Just holler, pause that please or whatever, and I'll pause and we can comment wherever you want to. And I think there's 2 places, maybe 3, where I've actually scheduled that in that we're going to pause and discuss things. And that will be definitely in the first part, which is going to start with Rosetta Great. Like I said, don't hesitate to holler or pause if you want to discuss something. All right. Is everybody in the chat ready to go? Ready to listen to what you came here for? All right. We're going to go ahead and get it started. And I'm all queued up right at the right spot, so you don't got to wait for me to find someplace. All right. Here we go. Also, let me know if the volume is okay.
Rosetta Gray is maybe one of my favorite victims because she is such a sweet lady and so completely honest. She goes by the head lady in that part of town. Put it together. Okay, you're grown ups. On the night that he assaulted her, they had just reloaded all the welfare cards, and she knows as a prostitute that that's when you can get a lot of business and a lot of crack because people can get cash advances, and so all the guys have money. So she's working that morning. She tells us that she's just trying to get home because she's already made money, she's already gotten high, but every time she started trying to walk back to her house, a new John would come, and so they'd smoke more crack, and she'd give more head, and she's the head lady. Holstall approaches her. She has a crack pipe on her. He puts her purse on top of the car, this is what she says, puts her in the back seat, rummages through her purse, finds her crack pipe, throws it down the street. Throws it down the street, crushes it, says, okay, let's go. And they start to drive. She thinks they're going to the jail. The location in the city is this. The Oakland City Jail is about right over here, okay, on the map. So it's over here. This is northeast Oklahoma City. He picks her up. It's hard to see. Stops her right there. She lives right here at a house with a guy who's squatting in a house that he doesn't own here north of the Health Sciences Center. You see the hospitals down here, okay, the Health Science Center. So he picks her up and starts going south. She thinks she's going to the county jail. Her purse is still on top of the car and it falls off. And they realize that my purse fell off. She says he's going to go back and look for it. She goes, don't go back and look for it. It ain't going to be there. There's too many people walking around. It's going to be gone. So he turns this way, and instead of going on to the jail, he turns north and starts going away from the jail. Takes her. Takes her all the way over here to this house. So this is the story she tells us before we run his GPS. And when we run his And when we run his GPS in his car, it's dead on match. He goes into the house. He dispatches radio and says, I'm going in the house with this person. Doesn't explain what he's going to do. He's in there so long that the dispatchers on the radio traffic are saying, Holslaw or whatever it is, it's Charlie 45, I think was his call number. Are you okay? Are you in the house? What's going on? Checking in with him because protocol is you check in every 15 minutes or else someone comes looking for you. He rapes her in this house, in the upstairs bedroom, and that's another count that they convicted her on. She's at Maple Bassett now because she just can't stop smoking. But I think she's going to get out relatively soon. This is
Okay. So I don't even know where to start. So basically, I don't know if it was clear or not, but the only and I searched every document I could get my hands on. The only AVL mapping that I could find was what I showed you on the screen, and that's from about the last half of the block of the one block to the house. Um, so for Gieger to say that he did this and he took her this way and they went down this road and she thought she was going to jail, but then he turned it, that's all a freaking lie. That just didn't happen that way. The blue line that I showed you on my map, that's the route that they took. And at no point did she, at least from according to the police report, at no point did she think she was going to jail. She knew that she says, I showed it to you in the police report, the officer offered her a ride home and she accepted. That was it. So he took her from where he picked her up to the house on Culbertson where she was living. uh Kay, Cherie, anybody, do you know anything
Yeah,
different?
no, no. I mean, to me, that shows Daniel's character well and truly. You know what I mean? He could have charged her for having the crack pipe. He could have took her to jail for having the crack pipe, but he doesn't. He makes her break it, gives her the choice, break it up. So she breaks it up, and then he's like, "Do you want a ride home?" So that the woman's not walking the street home. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
for them to come out and say this bullshit that he went into the house and he raped her upstairs and the dispatch called him and everything like that, it's just beggars belief that they actually got away with this, to be honest. You know what I mean? Because there's been no police work done in this.
No, no, you're right. And the whole situation, I believe that it's been narrowed down to about 9 minutes and 38 seconds. I think that he was actually out of his patrol car and in the house. And just like several other, cases or of the accusers, he's not sure he believes that's where she lives, because on the outside their house is a very nice looking house in a more upstanding neighborhood. So he, knowing the lifestyle that Rosetta Great has, Daniel's not so sure that this is where she really lives, because this is kind of a nice house. So he wants to check, and he does get out of the patrol car and walk up with her, but he does not go upstairs with her to the bedrooms. That what isn't pointed out, that Gieger didn't talk about, but I'm going to say, is she had two jailhouse interviews with Detective Gregory, or Detective Davis, and Detective Holman. And she writes them a letter, and I was going to put it up to share with you guys, but it's really kind of hard to read. But she writes them a letter and says, hey, I'm going to give you some information, Rosetta Great. I'm going to give you some information that's going to prove to you that this man sexually assaulted me, made me give him oral sex, and vaginally raped me. I am going to give you evidence to prove that. So they got a warrant and they went upstairs to her bedroom, where all the places that she said that they would find physical evidence or forensic evidence to implicate Daniel. One of those is a pair of panties, a pair of men's tighty whities, the back of a chair. She claims that after she gave him oral sex, that she wiped her mouth with her hand, I guess spit it out into her hand and wiped it on the back of this chair. And so the back of this chair, they took the whole back of the chair for evidence. and a white comforter that she said had already been washed by that time. And so they take all this stuff into evidence and test it for saliva, spermatosa, all the different DNA stuff, and there was nothing. Nothing in the men's underwear, nothing in the ladies' panties. Oh, there was a white towel that she had used to wipe herself with after she was allegedly raped. And they tested that. There was nothing on that. There was no evidence whatsoever of Daniel in that house anywhere.
She's just a good, I mean, her life has been about conning people. And, because of her addiction, um, just the nature of being an addict, you need money, you need things. And a lot of people will do whatever it takes to get it when you're desperate. Because of her lifestyle, she is a good con woman.
She is one of the
I mean, you,
best.
you can read some of her work in different police reports. You got to hand it to her. She really is pretty smart.
Right.
She is a smart lady.
Yeah. Well,
But
she's smart for sure.
I don't know, man. They were just looking for anything, and it's just so interesting to me that that it almost seems like in that video that Kim Davis really believes that she's going to get some evidence, it's going to prove that. But then when it didn't, just like every other case, it didn't matter. It's like if the evidence doesn't support the accusations in the Holtzclaw case, no big deal. Just look for more victims, and then
Yeah.
maybe you'll find something that's really splashy and sounds real bad, like a teenager, or
Right.
something pretty rapey, like taking them behind an abandoned school yard building, or just something that inflames the people
That's
in
the
the
key
public.
word, inflame.
Just what can I say that people will really that will really inflame all of the people who are listening, and then they won't care about guilt or innocence or evidence or anything like that, because, oh my gosh, what a horrible thing, these accusations.
Right.
Well, hell yeah, they're bad. These are horrible accusations, horrible allegations.
Yeah, the more disgusting, and the more maybe crude, and what's the other word I'm looking for? Vile sort of acts, deviousness,
Yeah.
Mhm.
for the jury to swallow. So the driving up the side street and round the back of the school into a wee alley, that makes it seedy. That makes it, cunning, premeditated in a sense, because the plan was to take them up this alley. He knew about this alley. He must have done it before at this alley, and kind of perpetuate all that kind of stuff to the jury. If you can get them to swallow that, then they'll swallow anything, in a sense, that you're going to put across as how crude or vile or disgusting that they can make it.
That's right. And listening to Gayland tell this story, he's in his prosecutor role. He starts, with what a great lady she is, and he has his sarcasm, and he spins a tale almost making fun of different things, calling her the head lady and talking about the welfare cards getting loaded, and assuming that only people on welfare would be using their services.
Yeah.
Um,
And by the way, there was nowhere that I could find any evidence of her claiming, and I may have misunderstood the way he was wording it, but I felt like he was saying that she was waiting. She knew that the welfare cards got loaded, and so she was out working, and
Right.
and that's not at all what she said. What she says, what Rosetta Great said, is that I had been over here by 14th and Jordan, which was pretty much 1523 Northeast and Jordan Avenue, which is where Tabitha Barnes lived, over there getting high and working and having sex and getting high and having sex. And I needed to go home, and I knew I needed to get home, so I was walking home. But every time I would, I'd start walking home, and another John would come up and catch me, and so I'd go with him, and I'd get more crack, and I'd smoke more crack, and I'd go, and it just was a perpetual cycle that she was describing of her trying to get home that morning. And so when Gieger is saying, talking about these other things that he's throwing in there, I've never found any evidence of that about her talking about knowing that the welfare cards have been reloaded. And you're right, Kay. That's a form of it's a form of racism. And in this situation, it is racism, because these women were all chosen because of their ethnicity, their socioeconomic backgrounds, their everything. They were chosen because they were Black, and they were not chosen by Daniel. They were chosen by Tim Musney, the lieutenant of the sex crimes. So for him to say things like that, it's just cringy. Like he's a freaking liar, and it's disgusting to know what we know, and then to hear him say the things that he says.
Something else that's weird about this, about Rosetta Great's case, because she's the only other, except for Janie Liggins, and she's the only other person with evidence, that they had to test.
Right.
But they didn't. So I didn't realize they took her comforter and tested it. Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not. No, I don't think they did take the comforter. But
okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said they did. I was going to say, are you kidding me? If they took that and tested it, even after she said it had been washed, that would not bode well for why they didn't go get the underwear out of the washing machine story. But the other thing that's different is they used an alternate light source on her evidence.
Right.
They didn't use an alternate light source on Daniel's pants or any of the evidence in his case, namely the pants. But
right.
Why use it for one and not the other?
Yeah, I think Kim Davis thought she was going to get real lucky with.
Yeah.
Because, lucky in the sense that she really knew that Daniel wasn't guilty. But here, all of a sudden, she's got this lady telling her that I've got all this forensic evidence, this DNA evidence I'm going to be able to get for you. And I think Kim Davis must have really got excited. I can only imagine how, giddy
maybe
she was.
She does think he's guilty, and she's just so dumb that she doesn't understand that it doesn't make sense. Maybe that's just how dumb she is.
Yeah, could very well be, because she is dumb. She is dumb. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Anybody else
have discussed that one?
We discussed the hell out of that one. Okay. Trust me, everything that Gayland Gieger and everybody on the panel who's read documents or whatever can vouch for this. Every single thing he said about her scenario was a lie, a huge lie. He lied about the whole thing. So, okay, let's go ahead. We're going to start with Regina Copeland. There also might need to be some discussion with Regina Copeland too.
This is an interesting one as well. This victim is the only other victim that was driving a car. She was stopped legitimately for a DUI stop right here. She was drunk and she was driving. Holzlaw says I'm going to arrest you. She says, please don't let me leave my car here, because if I leave my car here, someone will steal it. So then Daniel Holzlaw doesn't talk about this because he's lawyered up, of course, at this point, but he lets them.
I don't understand that line. Sorry, I wasn't going to pause here, but what does he mean? He doesn't speak about this because by then he was lawyered up. Daniel was lawyered up from
He's
the
just an
19th.
idiot.
He's such an idiot. He's just got to make Daniel sound, just as I don't know, just as bad as he possibly can. Again, that's a lie, everybody. It's a lie. I promise it's a lie.
Things like that are just his arrogance. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just so. I'm surprised he doesn't pound his chest a few times in the middle of this.
No kidding. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh.
But he lets someone that he's radioed in as a DUI stop, and he tells them that it's a DUI stop, drive her car. She says, can I drive it to my relative's house? So he follows her, and she tells us again, before we run the GPS, the path that she...
I was gonna read this part for you guys. Sorry, my subtitles are off there a little bit. I apologize. This is a statement by Kim Davis, and I don't remember which case this was in, and I apologize for not making that part available. But this was in one of the reports. It might have even been in her trial testimony, although it doesn't look like it. But anyway, this is Kim Davis reporting.
Report.
Huh?
It is a report.
Yeah, it's a report. I can tell by the. Yeah, it's one of her reports. So she says, in 3 of the cases I documented the dates that I obtained AVL. She says that she documented the date she obtained AVL on Sherry Ellis, Sarita Bowen, and Adara Gardner. She documented the dates that she obtained that AVL information or GPS information. In 5 of the cases, I did not document the dates I obtained AVL. Florence Mathis, Rosetta Great, Regina Copeland, Carla Johnson, and Kayla Lyles. So, well, then guess what? I'm going to assume that at least in those 5 cases, you looked at the AVL before you knew the story of the accuser. Although I think it's the case in all of them, but I mean, at least she had the honesty, I guess you would say, of admitting that. But she says, with certainty, I did not check with Joe Hill, who was the one she would get the AVL information from, until after I interviewed each victim because I did not have a location for him to check. Once I contacted Joe, I requested AVL, CAD calls, and radio traffic. I did not keep notes as to when I talked with Joe Hill. Obtaining AVL, radio traffic, and CAD calls took several phone calls and extended periods of time for each individual victim.
What a dumbbell. I did not have a location for him to check.
Yeah.
Oh, do you need that?
So,
do you need a location for him to be able to check? I don't think so.
Yeah, they knew every location. I mean, it's how we ended up with different dates of alleged assaults and different locations of alleged assaults. So
all they needed was a name, and they had all the names. They had the dates. They didn't need a location. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's stupid to write in there.
Yeah.
I mean, not only that, she's sitting there saying that she didn't know what time it was or anything like that. What a load of bullshit. Because you're going to look at the clock and go, oh, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they might be on their lunch, or oh, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, they could be in a meeting, you know.
Right.
So she definitely knows what time and things like that it was that she tried to contact him and everything like that. But how convenient is it that, oh, she forgot to take notes, like she forgot to take a recording when she went to the hospital. You know
Right.
what I mean? But then, oh no, but wait a minute, that's right. She's no tech savvy, you know. How tech savvy do you need to be to press record on your phone, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Okay, here we go.
The path that she took to her relative's house to park her car because she thinks she's going to jail. His GPS. His GPS follows her.
Stupid.
All right, the only way she would have known that he went on that path is if she was being followed by a police officer. So they go.
That's the only way she would have known it. She wouldn't have known because she was sitting in the back seat of his car. Nothing like that.
You took the words right out my mouth, Rhonda. I was just going to say that. Oh, she wouldn't know because she was sitting in the back of the motor.
Yeah, that was dumb.
He's just talking to people who can't think. So
Yeah.
I guess he's used to talking to people like that. It worked on the jury.
Yeah, it did.
So they go from here. This is Lincoln, Martin Luther King Boulevard, across, up this way, across 23rd Street to her relative's house right here. This right here is the Oklahoma City bus barn. If you've never driven down I-35, you might look over to the west of the freeway and you can see all the Oklahoma City buses. There's a house right here that they stop at right here, and she points out to the detectives, you notice how these windows are boarded up and you can't see out of it? He there has her be in the back of his car, bends her over the back seat, which is going to be significant because this is the same way he rapes the other women, removes his penis from his pants via the zipper, as I've talked about, and has intercourse with her from behind with her feet on the ground, and she's over the seat like that, you can imagine. There's the buses. Across the street are the buses. It's completely dark. There's nobody there. He does that. His GPS stops there long enough to do those things, just like she said. And
So I just wanted to. I remember Cherie and Kay and I think it was quite a while ago. We were trying to figure this out because the AVL that they show for this particular stop is really odd, and the times don't match up, or the lengths of time rather, and it they show you AVL for something that doesn't even relate to the alleged assault incident that occurred. And I think that's for distraction, but I'm not sure. But I'm going to figure it out. It's hard because it's hard to read those. Because what they do is they put his call number, they put his speed in knots, and they put the time of the incident, how it's just really hard to read because all of these words are all written are all typed in, and they're really hard to discern which time is going with which location that they snap at. So that's just something that I'm going to have to do some more, spend a lot of time trying to, map that out and figure it out. But something is funky about the time that they show on this particular incident.
Do you guys remember any police report that says that she pointed out the boarded windows to them?
Yes.
You do?
I think
I don't remember
Oh,
reading.
no. Oh, I don't remember that she pointed it out. No, I don't.
No,
remember
he's
reading
saying that, and these are the boarded windows that she pointed out to the police, that
Yeah.
see he could rape her on the side of this house and no one would look out the window because these windows were boarded. I don't remember ever reading anything about her mentioning boarded windows.
I think Kim Davis did during the trial,
Probably.
possibly, but I don't. But definitely not Regina Copeland.
Well, that goes good in Gayland's story here that he has going on.
Yeah, yep, fits good on in his scenario of things, right? Okay. Yes, he is very dirty, Corey. We agree.
And this victim, last I talked to her, is the only real success story of this because this got her to stop being addicted. She left, she moved to Texas, she went cold turkey, and she actually had a job when she came back and testified and was clean and sober because she realized the path she was on was going to get her killed. She, of course, did. She, of course, didn't report it either because who's going to believe me, which is the story we heard over and over and over with these poor ladies. This lady was stopped right here. She had had an affair with a guy down here. Her boyfriend lives over here. She was walking back, and he pulls her over, and he stops her. Puts her in the car. She has warrants. I think she had warrants. And he takes her. And he takes her, if you notice, this is a cul-de-sac, this is a playground, and this is a school in Oklahoma City that has been shut down and abandoned over on the east side. It's completely vacant, overgrown and empty. She says, he drove me to the street, and then he hopped the curb and went off-road driving through a field. That's exactly where his GPS went, and we went back and looked for it.
Okay, I'm just gonna, or anybody else who, if Kay or Cherie or somebody else wants to read it, you can. But this is a factoid, and we don't. I think probably everybody that's in chat right now, and definitely those of us on the panel, would probably just beat this dead horse to a pummel. But there is the possibility that it could have been a different officer that attacked and assaulted Sherry Ellis that night, if indeed she was raped, as she claims. Kay, do you want to read it, or?
Oh, go ahead. I just want to say that, yeah, it's maddening that they still didn't even look back after they learned of this guy's shenanigans to take a look at his AVL.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
still,
that's
that still will need to be investigated
yeah.
in
I
a
mean,
trial.
considering was it two of them, at least Sherry Ellis, that says it was a short black man, smaller than her,
Yep.
that did this to her, you
Yeah.
know.
And maybe
And
it's not him.
Daniel is bloody 6 foot odd, you know what I mean? So he would have towered over the top of her, you know. So for them not even look at this man is disgusting, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
they should have went with his AVL, and I guarantee you it would have pointed that right out and no Daniels, you know what I mean? But they didn't bother their arse to even consider looking at that because they had tunnel vision when it came to Daniel, and they wanted Daniel.
Yeah, right, exactly. One part about this, because we already know, I think we're all pretty much familiar with Sherry Ellis's the description of her attacker. And if you've, in case you've forgotten, just go check out it's like an 8.5 minute video that I have on my channel that you can watch completely. That's all about Sherry Ellis and her accusations. But down in this last paragraph, it says, according to page 3094 of Holtzclaw's trial transcript, Alexander Edwards, was on patrol only a few blocks away the night Ellis's alleged Ellis's alleged rape. Ellis was never shown a mugshot lineup containing Holtzclaw's or Edwards photos. I don't know where I read it, but I actually at some point had an address. I could swear I had an address of where Alexander Edwards was that night, and he was very, very close to the location of where she claims that she was assaulted. So, and then I just in her deposition, Sherry Ellis attempts to explain. Oh yeah, now I understand. Now I know why he looked shorter than me, because I was standing on the curb and he was standing in the street, and the curb was about 6 or 8 inches tall, so I looked taller than him. Which was the biggest load of
the
horse
bollocks,
crap.
I'm sorry. But if Daniel was standing on the curb, standing on the road and she was on the pavement, they probably would have been about head high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Daniel's 6
Well,
foot something, you know, so it wouldn't have made any difference whether she was standing on the pavement or not. You know what I mean? He would have been bigger than her. Oh my God.
well, and not only that, but Kay went out. I think I can say this. I don't think she'll mind, but she actually went out and took some video in Oklahoma City. I don't know, a month or two ago. Of I shouldn't say anything unless I have permission, but at any rate, that curb was not 6 to 8 inches tall. It was 3 inches at best. so it was a bunch of horse crap. That curb was 6 to 8 inches tall. So just saying. Okay, here we go.
She pulled me behind some portable buildings and between the trees, and there, in a similar fashion to the lady who was driving the car, same MO, he rapes her in the back of the seat as well, with her bent over the back of the seat. If you go to that location, here's what you find. This is the detective's car, but there are trees here. There's a school here that's completely abandoned. They've driven through the field, and you can see how that would be very isolated. Plus, keep in mind that if people are walking around on the east side, which they are, because a lot of them don't have cars, late at night, and they see a police car, they're not going to walk over to it. They're going to turn around and go the other way. This lady, had made an initial report before Janie Liggins, before the insurance fund, but she had lied about where it happened. And so she said it happened on the west side of town, not the east side of town. They had presented that case to me because they had done what they did in other ones. There's no police over there, there's no traffic stop over there. Gayland, she must be lying. I don't know why she's making this up. When we run her, we see that Holtzclaw had in fact stopped her. So we go back and we do the same routine with her. She denies it again. We go back a third time and we say, it doesn't make sense because we know he came in contact with you, tell us about what happened. And then she tells the story of how he took her on this path. So here's the state capitol complex. He picks her up here. He pulls behind the Oklahoma History Museum. You see it? Again, she tells us this before we run the GPS. He rapes her here. And then he takes her on a meandering way around through the deal. She says he lets her off right here. The problem with her case was the GPS shows he's still doing 35 miles an hour right there. It shows that he stopped for about 10 minutes right here where she says he did, but the jury didn't believe it. The reason she lied was this. Her boyfriend, she had left that night, and she had fallen off the wagon. If she had told people that she was on the east side of town, her boyfriend would have known that she was doing drugs. But she said she went to go see a friend on the west side of town so that her boyfriend wouldn't find out that she'd fallen off the wagon and started doing drugs again. The jury acquitted her, and I kind of acquitted him on this count because it didn't match up. I kind of expected that, but she was telling the truth. There's no doubt that it happened because she told us this path that we took, okay? This lady is probably the saddest of all of them, and mental health issues, no doubt. He picks her up here, takes her on this path. Again, if you're taking somebody to the jail, folks, the jail's over here. Okay? She has warrants. She's an addict. She's mentally ill. She's a sad person. The school, remember the school? School's right here. But he doesn't take her to the school. He takes her down here. And there's a green dot, if you can see it. The GPS stops for about 15 minutes right there. That spot is called Dead Man's Curve. The reason it's called Dead Man's Curve is because that's what it looks like even though it's in the middle of Oklahoma City. It's called Dead Man's Curve. Funny story, I won't tell you to it. It's not funny, but they called it that because they found a dead body back here one time. That's why she referred to it as Dead Man's Curve. But it's the middle of the night. He stops you. He puts you in the car. He goes on that path. And then can you imagine, pitch dark, nothing around. All this is an area where they completely just leveled the houses because they were slums and it's just been left and abandoned. There's trash. On occasion, there's dead bodies. You know that. And he pulls you over, he turns his car off, and he steps to the back, and imagine what's going on. her life has been such that she has to defend herself all the way around. I know she's just a sad story. I won't go into all of it. During the trial, she's obstinate, but it's a defense mechanism. I don't know if you remember Kristen or not. She's the one who wouldn't answer my questions. I asked her what side of the car he put you on. That's a stupid question. And I finally, first time in my career, I stood there going, I have no idea how to formulate a question that will not make her mad at me. She wasn't mad at me. She was reliving what's going on, and I didn't realize it at the time. We finally took a break because she was so obstinate with me. And you know how you take the witness out of the room, the doors? As soon as the door shut behind us, she fell at my feet and started sobbing. This lady, he picks her up. She says he did a U-turn. He does on his GPS, and he fondles her down here. This young lady was 17 at the time. So now we're to the night that Janie Liggins reports. She reports at 2 a.m. on the 18th. This is about 8 p.m. on the 17th. She has told Whole Squad came in contact with her and 3 friends earlier in the night. She's a reported runaway juvenile. But he comes in contact with them, asks them what they're doing, and lets them go. Later that evening, he runs into her again. He takes her to her mother's house, which is on her ID. Take a minute, let that house soak in for a minute. He takes her into this porch where the door is just hanging on, and inside that porch, he bends her over a chair. Interesting, isn't it? The MO that he has that's on that porch, and he rapes this 17-year-old girl right there. He is so arrogant that he gets her phone number, and later that night, before he rapes someone else, he calls her mother to see how it dares do. Her DNA is the DNA that's on the inside of her penis. We looked and we looked.
Did someone say pause?
Oh my fucking God, what a load of crap that's just came out that guy's mouth. Jesus fucking Christ, man. So not only is Daniel an exhibitionist and does it in the daylight in front of bus stations and everything like that, now he's doing it on a front porch where anybody could walk past and fucking see what's happening. Really?
Apparently so, according to Gayland Gieger. Kay, do you have any responses?
Oh, he's getting near the end of his story, and just like in trial, he has to build to a big finale, and this is just part of it. This is just exactly the way he puts together his scenario in a case. It's just all fiction. I mean,
but how the fuck did he get away with doing this in court? Okay, you know what I mean? And I mean, I'm sorry to say, but I mean, if this is the kind of shit that he was doing in court, where the fuck was Daniel's lawyers? You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know it took me a couple years to know this case. I don't know. I just think it was too much.
There was just so much.
I think he needed
going
more
on.
attorneys, but it was already costing a freaking fortune, as these things do. It's just, that's a lot of work and a lot of, I mean, I wasn't at the trial, so I have no idea how numbing this case would have been.
Yeah.
Preparing for it, and I can't even wrap my mind around preparing for this. I don't know. Cherise probably thought about it. But yeah, I mean, there are so many times when Daniel wanted his attorneys to say something, but I
Yeah.
don't know if they just felt like there was no way that the jury was going to convict him.
But even at that, they should have still put up a better fight than what they did. I
I
mean,
know.
if this is the kind of crap that Geiger was spewing in that courtroom, the
Yeah,
amount of blatant lies
I
that are
know.
just in this one video alone, I dread to think what dramatisation of the non-facts he did in court. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? For the jury to come to the conclusion that they did. But in my opinion, Daniel's lawyers never done him any good in this bloody trial, and where the hell were they?
Well, I think just, the whole approach was
Yeah.
wrong in the first place. And it's, I'm seriously not one to sit back here and second guess someone because they didn't understand what was going on around them at the time. Or, I mean, I don't know. I don't know inside Scott Adams' brain what he thought, how he thought this was going to go down, and why he chose that trial strategy. But
Yeah,
I mean, I only assume that he truly felt like it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But
Well, because the stories just all sound so convoluted and made up that
he wasn't aware of the racial trial that he was going to be under,
right.
uh, the media trial that he was going to be under, to that extent, with how it inflamed everyone's um, nerves were around the
yeah,
country.
yeah. I would love to get my hands on the whole filming of the trial just to see how bad Giger actually was
Yeah.
at trial. I mean, I've only seen a tiny wee clip, and it's the poor clippy Daniel just breaking down.
I don't think there is a recording of
No,
the
there's
trial
no.
itself.
Yeah.
That was just the sentencing hearing, I think, wasn't it?
Oh,
Or,
really?
Yeah.
Right.
or that was just the verdict, I guess. The
Right.
verdict was recorded, as was the sentencing hearing.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, as far as other recordings, there aren't any. Just the transcript is it.
Yeah. Which leaves us to our imaginations, unfortunately or fortunately.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
And we looked until we found her. She did not report. At the time of the trial, our detectives had to travel to Muskogee, Oklahoma, because her mother had thrown her out. Her father is abusive, and she was in a drug house in Muskogee, Oklahoma. And our detectives, who are freaking fantastic, tracked her down in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and drove her back up in the city. They spent $30 at McDonald's on the way because she hadn't eaten in about a week, and she was starving because instead of eating, she was doing drugs and having sex with these guys that were abusing her. And so they stopped at McDonald's, make it about 30 minutes, and have to stop at another one all the way back.
Oh, I must have been pausing here. Let me see what I was doing. Oh, yes, I have to pause and discuss. There's just too much. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Kay is much better versed as far as all of the excuse me, the time frames and things like that of Adara's story. Or but if I'm not mistaken, she didn't live with her mother. She was visiting her mother for the summer, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
correct. That's
And
correct.
she lived with her dad I thought initially in Michigan. I never heard anything about her dad being abusive in anything I've ever read.
That's
I
the first I've ever heard.
yeah,
I felt like her dad was I don't want to say more stable parent, because I mean her mom seems pretty stable. I mean, she seems like a normal person.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I've been through, I think it was her dad's Facebook that I have gone through, um, maybe sometime last year sometime. And from what I was reading on his Facebook, Adara and her dad have a good relationship. But she did not live with her mom. So, and I don't remember her having an ID when Daniel stopped them that night, but I might be mistaken. But even if she did have an ID, her mother's address wasn't going to be on it because she didn't live with her mom. So of course her mom's ID or her mom's address wasn't going to be on the ID. And, so for Gieger to make a big deal about that, even though she showed him her ID he had to say with her mother's address.
And he didn't get her phone number from her. He looked it up
No.
on Varuna from a previous contact, and
Yes.
he called the number that matched the address.
Yep.
I mean, that's a lie too.
And it wasn't even Adara's phone number. It was her mom's phone.
Yeah.
And the thing about, because Daniel did call Adara's mom late that night, but he didn't. If I'm not mistaken, he did not ask for Adara. He wanted to talk to Adara's mom and let her know, hey, just so you know, I found your daughter out with some man today and some other woman, and I think he was pimping her out, and I just want to make sure you know what's going on in your daughter's life and that she's, in dangerous situations. But he didn't get a chance to say any of that because the mother just went all ape shit on him and, told him, why, something, she said something, I don't remember what it was.
I think she cussed him out because Adara had told her that she met a hot cop and they were gonna go on dates.
Right,
so
right.
She told her mom that, and that pissed her mom off, I think.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And so the mom was like, what are you? And, I read something on her mother's Facebook last year as well, that somebody had commented about Adara looking hot and sweet and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the mother said, what's wrong with, she said something like, what's wrong with you? She's 15 years old, was how old she was, at least in this post that and so her mother was very protective of her in that way. When men were, making outward advances towards Adara. And so, but yeah, she cussed Daniel out and she hung up on him before he even had a chance to explain why he was calling. And so, that's too bad, because although her mother ended up lying, every direction during the trial, but at any rate, all of that business about Gieger said that the detectives had to find Adara, and they found her in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and they drove to Muskogee and they fed her at McDonald's every 30 minutes, and because she was starving. I've never read all of, I did read that. They did go to Muskogee to pick her up, but that was way before the trial, if I'm not mistaken. And so, but all that business about her starving, and instead of eating, she was doing drugs and having sex with these men in this drug house that had been abusing her. And none of that has ever been said in any document that I've read anywhere. This just made me very, very, very angry going through this part about Adara. There was something else I was going to discuss. Oh, well, I'm sure it'll come to me. Any other comments? Jack, you've been very, very quiet. Okay.
Are you awake?
Sorry. No, I'm awake. Sorry. I was on the phone.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay, there's not a whole lot left, so we'll get on with it.
So that's victim number 1 on the 18th. Victim number 2 on the 18th is this lady. She is living at a hotel on 23rd Street, which is cut off this map. She's walking. He stops her. Do you recognize the scene? Takes her back to the same spot and rapes her there about midnight. And then clocks out at 2 a.m. And at 2:14 a.m. he is stopping Janie Liggins at the insurance place. And that brings us full circle.
Okay, so that's pretty much where I ended the whole thing. Oh gosh, so all of that stuff about KL in the end, that's Kayla Lyles. So let me just kind of explain if somebody doesn't realize or doesn't understand. On June 17th at around 6, I don't remember the exact times. I want to say around 6 o'clock or 6:30 in the evening, Daniel gets a call or hears a call or something about an argument out in the street, and he responds, and it's Adara and Face and Chocolate, and that's the first time that he sees Adara. He pat searches Adara and Face and Chocolate, and he goes through Adara's purse looking for drugs and whatnot. So then that happens on June 17th, the evening of June 17th. And then later on the evening of June 17th is when he sees her. He's back in the area and he sees her walking alone, Adara. Now he's already, this guy that he stopped her with earlier is trying to pimp her out. And the female that was in that group, her name was Chocolate. Her name's Melody something. She even said that Adara I can't remember her exact wording in her police report, but something about Adara was saying that that Face was pimping her out so she could get drugs or whatever. So at around 9 or 9:30 that night, that's when he sees Adara walking alone. So he stops, offers her a ride to her mother's house, which at that point is really just around the corner, really wasn't that far at all. He pat searched her on that second entry into his patrol car and takes her to her mother's house, drops her off, and then leaves. And then he's back over on the east side of town when he encounters Kayla Lyles. Now, Gayland Gieger says in this little presentation he did that it was at midnight. He stopped her at midnight and then goes and clocks out at 2 o'clock and Janie Liggins reports at 2:14. That is not at all how it happened. He stopped Kayla Lyles. It was almost 2 o'clock. It was like 1:35 or 1:40 in the morning when he stopped Kayla Lyles. So the entire situation, the entire scenario that Kayla Lyles tells, because at some point she claimed that it was like a 20 or 30-minute long rape and, an oral sodomy prior to that and blah, 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 it couldn't have been possible on the clock because Daniel is back at his station in Spring Lake. And he actually left a few minutes early from his shift. He had permission from his captain to leave or whoever a few minutes early. So he actually left a few minutes before 2 o'clock. So Gieger saying that Kayla Lyles got raped at midnight is completely wrong. And then he makes the distinction that Janie Liggins is reporting at 2:15. Not true, because they had just barely left the stop. Janie Liggins and Daniel had just barely left the stop at like 2:14 or something. I did the math. It was like a 13 and a half minute long stop. And Kim Davis thinks that's way too long, she said, in the interrogation. But anyway, so for Janie Liggins to be reporting at 2:15 is just outrageous. She doesn't actually end up reporting until almost, I think it was 3:40 in the morning. Now, these might all seem like little, slip ups of time or whatever, but they're not. They are very not well thought out, but they are very. Giger had to make Daniel look like he was on a raping spree, is what he was doing in that particular night. So at any rate, it's June 18th now, and Daniel goes to work for his shift at 4 o'clock that afternoon. And then that's when all hell broke loose on Daniel's life. Everything that Giger said in that video, pretty much, in my opinion, was lies or misconstrued or stretched or imagined or whatever. There's no truth in that presentation. And it's disgusting to me that he gave that presentation to however many people were in attendance. I think Kay said she thought it might be around 200 people. It's horrible, horrible that he could stand there and lie for that long. Now what I'm not going to show, what I decided just to cut out completely, because this is the conclusion, by the way, so you don't have to deal with any more of it. But there's actually more to the Holtzclaw part of that video. And in it, I just thought, you know what, I'm not dignifying it. He said some pretty, really unprofessional and nasty things about Daniel's girlfriend at the time. And it really pissed me off. And, he found the most unflattering, I guess you could say, pictures or the worst pictures he could possibly find to make her look like a bimbo. And I just thought, you know what, I'm not doing that to her. I don't know if she's in Daniel's life anymore in any way, shape, or form or not, but it doesn't. I refuse to dignify that, and so I just thought, I'm not showing any of that. So I cut that all out. But then after the whole Holtzclaw presentation, he does another half hour or 45 minutes on another case that I've also cut off. So as long and drawn out as you guys might think this was, it could have been a lot worse. So
Did you listen to his other case that he talked about?
I have not listened to it because I'm just going to have to assume that he's lying all the way through it. But
I haven't listened to it yet either.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it.
I mean, it's not just that, Rhonda. It's the fact that Giger is talking to these people, and these people, for what I've gathered, for what the wee glimpse of the audience and that I've got, some of them are quite young and are probably law students,
Yeah.
and things like that, and the way he's presenting that is basically saying, look, you can lie your ass off and get away with it, and it's all right.
Right. Well, and I don't know if you weren't on the panel in the first episode of this, but he makes a big deal about how prosecutors, they have a moral, ethical conduct that they have to abide by, but defense attorneys don't have that. They're not required to be ethical and honest. They're expected to, and they hope that they are, but they aren't bound by law to be ethical and honest. And I just thought, you're such a pig.
Yeah, because everything that we've been involved in, and every case that we've kind of looked into, it's not the defense that are dodgy fuckers, it's the prosecution that are dodgy fuckers and like holding back evidence or no handing it over or spinning a load of bloody lies just to make them feel good and look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so bizarre that he says that about defense attorneys when in fact you look at the statistics, and if anyone ever gets punished for unethical behavior as an attorney, it's defense attorneys. Prosecutors, they do that shit all day long, 10 times worse with immunity.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Kay. You know, I mean, just especially with the Avery case and that, and all, Kratz was the prosecutor. You know what I mean? And the amount of stuff that we've came across in that, in the whole case, with the shenanigans between the law enforcement and the prosecution, is the same exact thing in Daniel's case. You know, it's the law enforcement and it's the prosecution that are hiding evidence and making up lies and everything like that just to make themselves sound better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Egos. You
Yeah,
have
we
to have
need a
big
big
ego.
change, don't we?
We sure do, and I'm really excited about this new candidate that you guys have in Oklahoma. I have a lot of hope for her, and I think that she is the one who will bring, or who would. And I know it's I know it's just a really red state, and I understand that, but there's.
Hey,
I just feel like she's an honest. I mean, I listen to her and I look at her and I read about her, and she just kind of drips with honesty and compassion and ethics, whereas all of the
lived,
rest of them,
yeah, she's lived it,
yeah,
the wrongful conviction path. So, she had a front row seat to all of these problems.
yeah, yeah,
Hey, and speaking of it being a red state, David Prater ran and won as a Democrat. I mean, and
yeah,
then of course I think he ran unopposed for 4 more terms, if I have my numbers right.
yeah. I think that, and I remember that Prater had ran as a Democrat, so.
And we've
Uh,
had quite a few Democratic governors too, but yeah, it is a red state for sure.
well, and it's I don't know. It's all I can do is just we're going to start, and this was Roxanne's idea. I don't know. Can I share this, or do I have to wait? Or I think I can share this now.
I have no idea what it is.
What I'm talking about? Hold on. Let me see if I can while I'm chatting here. Roxanne came up with a really good idea. I'm going to see if I can find it in my files and share with you because I thought it was a really good. I thought it was a really good idea, and I started helping her out with it yesterday. Um, let's see if I can figure out what it was called. I can't remember
Right,
what I.
well, I'm going to have to say good night, ladies and
Okay.
gents. I've got an early call in the morning and it's 1:45 in the morning here.
Oh, go
So,
to bed.
if,
Go to sleep.
Is that all, Alice? I mean, come on. What?
yeah, that's all. But I've got an early call, Jack, so I can't stay up till 5 this morning. I'm sorry.
I understand.
Sure
We
you know.
understand. Will you go get some sleep? And thank you very much for joining us and
No,
for commenting. We appreciate it.
no problem. I'm happy to be back on the panel. And
Yep,
I'll be back next week and hopefully stay on the whole time. So,
that'll be
thanks everybody in chat, and I'll speak to you all soon.
all right. Thank you so much, Alice. Good luck at
No,
with your early call in the morning.
thank
All right.
you.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye bye. I'm not going to probably be able to get my hands on it real quick like I want to, just because I want to. You know how that is. But
That's what
at
she
any
said.
rate, oh gosh, Jack, you've been so quiet all night, and then you just had
You've left 2 or 3 of those zingers out there, and I couldn't really respond at the time, and it really hurt me. It was like it
see,
physically hurt that I couldn't respond. It was like,
you just weren't. You weren't. It was too quick, huh?
well, no, it wasn't that. I had a phone in my ear or my face, so I just had to let it go.
Just let it go. Let it
I
go.
just-
What is that? Yoris always says, "Let it go."
oh yeah, he's got the little brother son. Yours.
Yeah, his little frozen thing. And I just wish I had that kind of a mentality to just let stuff go. I don't let things go quite that easily, but at
I
any
try to,
rate,
but I try to,
it's
but sometimes
hard. It's
it
really
is hard
hard.
sometimes.
When especially when something's really getting on your last nerve, it's just kind of hard to just ignore it and let it pass you by. But so anyway, I don't remember where I downloaded it to. My files are such a huge mess. But anyway, Roxanne had come up with a really great idea, and so we're going to start. I call them flyers because I don't know what else to call them, but they are little things that we're kind of putting together. Things
Little
that
fact sheets.
fact sheets. There you go. That's much better. And they're just like one or two facts on a sheet, so it's not overwhelming and it's not you don't get lost in them. So we're going to start trying to put a few of these together, and then we will. I think the idea is to get them to well, mostly to
Everyone.
to all of them, to everyone. But
Hey,
we want
yes,
to
just leave it at that, to
get
everyone.
to everyone. There you go. But we really would love for the candidates to see these. So I think that ideally Roxanne is going to start sharing them on her Facebook page first, if I'm not mistaken. I don't do Facebook very often, but we have other ways we can share them as well. So as soon as we get that all situated and figured out how it's going to go, then you guys should all start seeing those across Twitters and Facebooks and YouTubes or Instagram. I have an Instagram that I never use, so whatever ways we can so that we can get these words out here about how dishonest Gayland Gieger is. So yeah, that's pretty much excuse me, the end of that whole shit show, for lack of a better word, of Gieger, spreading his nasty lies. Um, it kind of, when I very first started my channel, I started to do the 95 facts or something about Holtzclaw's case that not everybody knew, and started working on those, and then they kind of all just started melding and running together, so I kind of stopped doing that. But it is kind of like doing the 95 facts thing, except for we'll release them like one at a time, and it'll just be one or two things on it, and not a whole you know big long thing to have to do. And yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do, is focus on Gieger's lies. Um, and the thing of it is that, we're not going to just say the things or type it out and put it in quotes. We're going to be able to share the fact, the honest to goodness fact of it. So when you start seeing those things coming around, either, make sure you help us out by retweeting them, or if you have an Instagram, share it on your Instagrams or Facebooks, whatever social media you use, because we want to make sure that it gets spread far and wide, especially through the state of Oklahoma. So, all right. Does anybody have anything else they want to comment on or say or anything about what we got going on? We pretty well covered it.
I have nothing.
I got nothing else either, believe it or not. Cherie, how about you? You've been a busy bee.
Well, at work, yeah, a lot of evictions going on since our moratorium ended, and I filed my first appeal today, so that's going to be exciting. I am actually going to second chair it, but it's still exciting because it's my case.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you.
You
I'm
go,
excited.
girl. You ever kick
That's
some ass?
cool.
Yeah, kick some
Very
ass.
good.
Just tell that first chair, you just chill out. I got this. Chill
Yeah,
out.
don't think I'm there yet, but thank you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, it won't be long. I know you're you're quick, and you learn stuff very, very quickly and very easily. Your retention level is amazing. So I think you're going to do great.
I get fired up if that's
She'll be
a
lucky.
qualification.
She'll be lucky to have you. You can put your finger on information faster than anyone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Hey, Rhonda,
Yeah.
what's going on with YouTube?
What's that?
The placeholders for where we're at. on my end, they're all, except for you, all the other three are like circles.
I know. I see that too. I don't know if everybody sees the YouTube that way. Um,
I saw it
but
earlier and I thought he'd correct itself, but no.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know if it's me or if it's got to be my computer. I think I need to do some cleaning up in my computer or something.
I
It's
don't think
really
that's it. That
struggling.
should be through StreamYard because you pick
Oh
your own
yeah,
icon, right?
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, mine's through. Yeah, it's my
OBS.
Google. It's my Google icon. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, but
okay, it was just weird. I thought
yeah,
I'd
no.
ask if anybody else had noticed it.
Yes, Shaz says, "Yep, all circles of white for me except Rhonda." Well, that's all
Oh
you need then,
well,
as long
I
as
see
the
how I see it. I see how it is now.
I have a secret way of circling everybody out.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
what's
what.
going on, guys, but I'm here.
I'm here. You
Yeah.
can see me. No, I really don't know what that is. I noticed it
Ah,
last week too. I don't know what's going on. So,
okay.
but anyway, all right. Well, this was a great chat. I think. I hopefully we helped you guys recognize some of the lies that Gieger has
Oh,
told, at least in
that
Daniel's case.
that was something else too, Rhonda. You have to understand that I had a really good meal before I listened to. I was actually finishing up when we come
I
into
can't.
Geiger, so there's a nausea effect.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. It's gross.
Yeah,
He's gross and disgusting. I
he is
know. Oh,
terrible.
that's too bad. I'm so sorry that that's happening. Maybe I need to uninstall some things and reinstall some things. I don't know.
Maybe
Jack
just
tells,
maybe just take a look at StreamYard. That should be through StreamYard. See if there's a
yeah,
setting, something new.
could be.
These
Maybe I'll.
engineers, they always like to change shit. So
I know. Shao said she had no idea who was on. Oh, that's frustrating. Gosh. But, okay, well, I think we'll go ahead and end it. It's we're under 2 hours, so that's pretty good for us or for me. But I'm not sure what we'll have for you next week, but hopefully we'll have some information about what's going to happen with the civil suit. And it'd be amazing if we could get a trial date. We'll see. I don't expect that, but weirder things have happened. So if you haven't, go over and subscribe to Alice's channel, hit the bell, get your notifications. Foul Play every Saturday afternoon, reading with Uncle Ken at what is it, 5 p.m. Central.
5 p.m. Central.
5 p.m. Central, and then open mic on Sundays at
5
5
p.m.
p.m.
Central.
Central. Always great discussions to be had. And CTE Crime Theory Exchange is Wednesdays at noon,
12 p.m.
12 p.m.
Central.
Central. So jump over and make sure you get in on some of those. I guess I can say this because it was announced last night by him. But for those of you who know who Ripper is, he is no longer going to be broadcasting or being a part of any social media of any kind. It's very, very sad. Ripper is definitely a man that I have a great amount of respect for. And he's endorsed my channel several times on his station, on his YouTube channel, and he's endorsed my channel in comments. And but things have gotten pretty rough on that end of the Don Lewis case, and for the sake of Don Lewis's daughters and some things that are going on with that, he's done. He's calling it quits. And it was very sad. If you didn't watch his video that he did last night, it was really sad. It made me drop a few tears for sure. He's not going to be on any social media, no Twitter, no Instagram, no YouTube, no Discord
no
or
Facebook.
anything. So,
Nope.
Jack,
No Facebook.
no, yeah, no Facebook. He's deleted all of it. It is so sad because Ripper has brought to light and to focus so many cases of wrongful, not necessarily convictions completely, but just
Wrongdoing.
just shenanigans and wrongdoings in different ways, shapes, or forms in criminal justice or just in humanity. And I know that foul play is going to, I believe foul play, we're going to keep up with the Hills,
Highland Community College.
Highland Community College. Thank you. Because that case is horrific. So hopefully, yeah, thank you, Cherie. There, if you should still be able to go over to his channel and find that video that he did last night, I encourage you to do that. He gave lots and lots of links in there
Yep.
for ways to file different complaints in different states and cities, and one particular attorney that definitely needs some complaints brought against him. And that's what Ripper's kind of encouraging us to do at this point. And it's really sad because I've been following Ripper ever since I've been involved with the community. So it's a little heartbreaking. And
He's put a hell of a lot of work in. I know that.
yeah, a ton of work, so much work. He has sacrificed, him and his wife, they have sacrificed so much, not just time, but energy and health and health. And, I don't know, it's just really a sad situation. So go over and watch that video. It's only about 30 minutes long. If it's still up, leave a comment for Ripper. I don't know if he's going to look at it and see it. Because as far as I know, he's done. He's like completely off the grid now. So
I haven't looked. I would
Yeah, I
be
haven't
surprised
either.
if it's still there. I'd be surprised if it's still there.
yeah, it might not be there. So, and he did mention that, I think, somewhere in that video last night, that he wasn't going to. He was going to leave it up for a little while, but then it was going to come down. So I don't know if it's still there or not. Yeah, you're right, Shaz. His personal money as well. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So anyway, it's really sad for the cases that he's worked on, especially recently. The Nicole Bacchus and Highland Community College, like I said, and of course Don Lewis, Carol Baskin, all that stuff. He's done so much. So um, it's almost like you feel like you're in mourning in a sense, really. But you got to do what you got to do. You have to take care of yourself and your family. And for Ripper, it's not just taking care of himself and his family, but he's also taking care of, watching out for Don Lewis's daughters, which is, like I said, a huge sacrifice. So, like I said, I don't know if it's still there. If it is, if you get over there and you can see it on there, hey, Anthony D, we're just getting ready to head out, bud. But if you do get over there and you do get it, you are lucky enough to see it. It's definitely worth the 30 minutes to get some information, of what's going on and how serious he is, and how heartbroken he really is too, to be giving up, everything that he's worked so hard for. But we'll try to, I will try to keep up with some of those things over on Foul Play too. And speaking of Foul Play, Jack, do you want to make that little announcement for Cherie?
Yeah, our brand newest shiny mod, Cherie. I don't recall. Ooh,
Yeah. So yeah.
Thank you.
great addition. Legal
What's
stuff, and just
Oh, Shining Star.
extremely fast with any information really, but her ability to get legal stuff is really, really spot on.
Yeah, she's quick.
Definitely a great addition.
Yep, we're excited to have her.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, all right, well, we're going to go. Thank you, everyone, for being here and for sticking around. And Anthony, yeah, definitely go ahead and rewatch this replay. It's definitely interesting. But thank you for coming. And I will we'll try to see what we can come up with for next week. And I'm sure there will be definitely something of interest. So everybody in chat, thank you. And to those on my panel, it's great to have Cherie back. Jack and Kate, thank you so much for helping out tonight. And till next time, peace out.